Spinning in the air, bathing in sugar, flowing down a river of vibrant colors, the cycle of life for a single Jelly Belly jelly bean is a journey like no other. But before we can show you how it's all done, you gotta look the part. So we gotta grab the official Jelly Belly lab coat, the hairnet, and off we go. The Jelly Belly factory in Fairfield is a well-oiled machine cranking out 4 million beans a day. As I was pulling up here to the factory, I was asking myself, hey Mike, how long does it actually take to make a Jelly Belly jelly bean? I figure most people work 8 hours a day, so I said, 8 to 10 hours for one bean. One bean, mind you. Well, I wasn't even close. Let me bring in the Jelly Belly master himself, Jeff Brown. Jeff, how long does it take to make one Jelly Belly jelly bean?
So one Jelly Belly jelly bean will take us 7 to 14 days.
7 to 14 days. I'm intrigued. Let's go find out how it's done. Big man on campus, Jeff Brown, has a big title, Vice President of Global Operations, and knows every step of the process, and with that, he took us to the kitchen.
This is where it all begins. This is where we make the center of the Jelly Belly jelly bean.
How do you do that?
So we do that, we're gonna combine sugar, water, corn syrup, and some corn starch, and we make a base of slurry, which is that center of the Jelly Belly bean.
Once they have that slurry, flavors are added, in this instance, blueberry. Once that kettle is done mixing, the slurry is then fed through stainless steel pipes to the floor below into a machine called a mogul. The mogul injects the hot slurry into shallow wooden trays with dry cornstarch, and just like that, the mold of the bean is formed. And then they get a sugar shower. This initial sugar layer prevents the Jelly Belly bean centers from sticking together. So at this point in the game, we're basically about halfway through the process of getting to that final product. Good place to call a timeout and tell you that Jelly Belly, well, wasn't always here. This wasn't home. To tell the story, we got to take you back to the 1800s in the Midwest and a guy named Gustav. 1869, Belleville, Illinois. Gustav Golitz, right there in the front, foot on the barrel, opens a candy business. His sons take over in 1894 and specialize in candy corn. Fast forward 60 years, the third and fourth generations start cooking other candies, including jelly beans. And in 1976, Jelly Belly has its first 8 flavors: root beer, green apple, licorice, cream soda, lemon, tangerine, berry cherry, and grape. The company also makes some not-so-tasty flavors. They're called Bean Boozled jelly beans, and they're created in part right here inside a closed-off area to isolate the smell.
All right, here we go.
But what kind of flavors are made in here?
So, like today is dead fish, but we've also made spoiled milk, vomit, and dog food.
I'm good. Now back to the tasty beans. Once through that sugar bath, the beans are placed into larger trays with the help of a useful robot. Those trays are moved to a room known as the panning process. This process results in the soft shell we see on each bean. After another resting period, the nearly completed beans are placed into these giant stainless steel pans where they get one final coating and finished with glaze and beeswax to create the glossy finish we see in the end. White food coloring is then used to print the Jelly Belly name on each bean at a rate of 20,700 beans a minute. The beans then rest up in these brown boxes.
Those are now the official Jelly Belly bean, stamped, ready to go, and then we'll bring those back out to start to put into mixes and bags and boxes.
And this is how they mix. A beautiful display of colors and flavors, some 20 at a time, spun together, eventually dumped into a bag, sealed, and boxed.
The people here at Jelly Belly are wonderful. It's like family. From every position here. We have a lot of folks been here decades.
Jelly Belly does not disclose specific sales data, but the company says it sells about 15 billion jelly beans a year. Most popular flavor, berry cherry, followed by buttered popcorn. As for those smelly ones, which the company claims people actually love to buy, well, there's a few, and I had to taste them. Helping me do this is Jonna Stevens. Perry, Jonna, thanks for doing it.
Hi, thank you.
All right, what's number 1 here?
All right, so first up, this is our Bean Boozled line. So we're gonna have some fun here.
Uh-oh.
Why don't you take a little taste of that?
Any warning?
Not really.
Oh.
You wanna guess?
You tell us.
It's stinky socks.
Stinky socks. Of course.
It got sweet first, and then you got a little bit of a hit
had to
at
give me
the
stinky
end.
socks. One more.
One more.
Stinky socks, rotten eggs. You think this is funny? Oh.
Does that taste familiar at all? Might taste familiar. That's our dead fish. But here, let me make it up to you. This is gonna be okay. You might need that actually. That's toothpaste.
That is toothpaste.
It's a little better.
That's very nice. Good way to end it. Thanks, Jelly Belly. We'll see you around.